it true that the Lord really hates men? But just before the men just ask you, tell me that, Charles, you don't know what they are saying. I'm telling you, I've just been through a divorce. I'm about to go through a divorce, or I'm planning to go through a divorce. Just let us go through this as professionally as possible. You're welcome to Law, Life, and Business with Charles Ajiboye. I'm excited to be sharing this time with you. It gives me great pleasure to share knowledge. I've said it countless times. It's not possible for you to have everybody as your client. Several people would have loved to ask questions. Someone will call you, Charles, can you explain this? What do I do in this issue? All of you that like free services, you just want to take free consultation. But it's okay. It's one of the things we enjoy doing, and that's why these particular sessions are going to be very helpful. You can listen to them, it can give you ideas, and then you can now go and get a proper legal opinion. But at least it will solve your initial hunger for some clarity. That's what it is. But please know this is not a legal opinion. No, you are not paying for this one. This one is just to help you and to put you on the right path. Today, we'll be talking about something very interesting. I have had to consult, work with different people on this issue, and so many people have become very nostalgic about traveling abroad. They become very worried and very paranoid about their marriage, especially when they are relocating. It bothers a lot of people. Once people are trying to relocate out of this country, especially married people, there is this worry. Am I not going to lose my marriage? As I'm traveling out, I hope I'm not traveling out of my marriage. And for those of you that are very conversant with Nigerians, particular Nigerians in diasporas in the UK, in the United States, and in Canada, many of you will realize that the failed marriage rate is increasing. I wish I had the exact stats, but the rate of failure in their marriage is increasing. Generally, the marriage institution seems to be under a lot of attack. You find out that divorce rate is increasing every day at the firm. There's a new divorce file that we are putting together, a fresh divorce petition, and it's very worrisome. But the part that's more worrisome is the fact that majority of the divorce cases that we have for us in our firm are divorce cases that affect, that is, we are perfecting a divorce here for people that are presently staying in Canada, in UK, or somewhere in the United States. So there's a court in any of those jurisdictions that is handling the issue of custody, and here we are handling the issue of the separation or other absolute divorce proceedings that are going on here. And so I thought it wise that we should share this to help a lot of people. But the biggest worry for many of them is it's true that divorce in America, in the UK, in Canada actually favors just the women. That's the belief that once you divorce or you go through a divorce in any of these countries, the woman wins. Or is it true? Is it a myth? Is that the law? Why does the law in America hate men? Why does the law in the United Kingdom hate men? Why does the law in Canada hate men? Is it true that the law really hates men? But just before the men just ask you, tell me that, Charles, you don't know what they are saying. I'm telling you, I've just been through a divorce. I'm about to go through a divorce, or I'm planning to go through a divorce. Just let us go through this as professionally as possible. I'll break some things down for you, and you'll be able to see that the law actually may not men, and the law may not necessarily be in love with women. It's just the way we are wired. And I'll start with this story. And this one is a real life story. It actually happened to me. It's a real life story. A couple years ago, I was in Houston, in Texas. And there's this couple that I had known from their days in Nigeria. We're very close, of course, like family friends. And it was not the first time that I was visiting them. In fact, I had visited them before and stayed with them for a bit. And this time they were having issues in their marriage. But I just knew that things were not particularly smooth. But I had spoken to the husband of the marriage, and he knew about my presence in the United States, and I had come to visit. And when I came into the house, you'd expect that the wife, who already is my friend as well, should have been more ecstatic. But no, she wasn't. And I was like, why are you not that? But you told your friend, you didn't tell me that you were coming. Ah, well, but I'm your guest. Both of you's guest. I don't know. You are your friend's guest. That was sarcastic. But that was not it. Fast forward to it, the wife came out and said, I hope you know that you're not staying over. And I'm like, why do you talk like that? That sounds rude. That sounds not like, oh, no, no, no. And she was sarcastic about the fact that You came because you wanted to see your friend. Otherwise, I would have known before you left Nigeria. But since you are here now, you can visit your friend, but please, there's no stay over. There's no sleepover. That was not even the problem. The problem was now later that evening, we had gone out, had some meetings, went for some nice things, and then came back much later in the evening, back to the house, of course, with my friend, as she had called the friend. And then I needed to have a shower to move. So I'd gone into the guest room to shower. And then the lady comes out and says, what was it still doing here? Why is it entering into the room? It's not supposed to do this. I'm going to call 911. And then the guy is worried and comes and he says, oh, see what's happening? She's going to call 911. I said, don't panic. The law does not mean that when you come, you have committed an offense, you go to jail. But that is what is typical for every man. The women intend to become bullies because the man is very careful or is very, very cautious. And the guy was panicking, and I said, no, just calm down. Nothing is going to happen. I understand what the position of the law is on this issue. I got myself ready, got myself dressed, and we're waiting for the police to come because she had actually called the police on me. And the police came and we went out immediately. The bell rang. And I said, you're welcome. How are you doing? The lady went outside and said, oh, this is him. He's not supposed to be here. I told him he had to leave, but then he still decided to stay. And the police said, all right, gentleman, whose guest are you? And I said, I'm this man's guest. And then he asked the man, he said, who are you? He says, I'm a husband and we own this property jointly. And the police looks into the woman's face and says, then ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't ask him to leave. He's a legitimate guest. I'm even trying to intone the white man who came as a police officer. And I could see her eyes bulge and there was this redness everywhere. She was angry. That was like being blown off by your own blow. You wanted to punch somebody, I did not punch you. I said, but I'm uncomfortable. That was her say. She said, I'm uncomfortable. It's choking me. It's causing me. The police said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but I cannot ask him to leave. He's a legitimate guest. Only his host can ask him to leave, and he's legitimately in the premises. And I just smiled, looked at her, and I looked at the police officer, and I said, police officer, I just needed to know that I was about leaving, but I just wanted to wait for you to come so that it doesn't look like I ran away because the police had been called. And the man looked at me and he said, you are a good man. You're trying to keep peace in their home. I'm going to ensure that you live safely. I'll be outside while you pack your things and leave. And then we left. Why did I tell this story? In that particular case, the lady who called 911 believed that she could throw me out of the house, despite the fact that I was her husband's guest. That easily happens a lot in the diaspora. You would not usually try that in Nigeria, even if you own the house jointly with your husband. But the environment is different, the terrain is different, and that's the worry of a lot of men. I know men who will not relocate out of the country because they just want to keep their marriage. They don't want their wives to seem to fall into bad gangs and then start mixing with people. They believe is that once a woman gets into their abroad, as they call it, she mixes up. They tell her, "Oh, this is a woman's world. Though. Don't agree for any man. Don't let the man push you around. Don't let the man tell you what to do. Don't let the man tell you how to do things. You have to stand for yourself. There is equal right." And they feed those things into these women. And then the women start coming up with things like, oh, African men are bullies, men are not caring, Nigerian men are manipulative, and that makes them want to assert a lot of things. Well, I don't blame them. It comes from what I call the patriarchal premium. Those of us part of the world believes in the system that the man is to be feared, the man is to be hallowed, the man is to be worshipped. Traditionally, women are seen as an asset, just like slaves. So if you marry a woman, it's like you have married her, and that's why they will tell you that, oh, this one has gone. In fact, I was watching a video recently where a father told the daughter and said, see, after this ceremony, I'm converting your room to a guest room and I'm going to be renting it out for short lets, telling her that you can never come back here. And so the lady feels sold out, a bride price is taken, and she has to change her name, she has to change her house, she has to change everything to follow a man. So the man feels, all right, I have arrived. She's my property. And a lot of men abuse that because they don't understand the whole concept of marriage, the depth about how marriage is to be, and then this whole patriarchal premium and chauvinistic nature to misbehave. not to understand how to take care of their women, how to respect a woman's opinion. And then that's the difference when you now get abroad. That is why you find out that the men now say, oh no, the law supports. No, they are not used to the law recognizing the contribution of women. They are not used to the law recognizing the sacrifices of women. And that's why they are now worried and they're not comfortable with it. And so it's not really that the law supports women over men, it's that the law understands and recognizes everybody's contribution and role in a marriage. In the Matrimonial Causes Act, for example, for Nigeria, when you are talking about contribution, when you want to separate things, it's not 50-50. It's you have to prove. So, for example, somebody is married to, and I'll even give a life example of a particular case that has been decided, public knowledge. A man is married to a woman. The woman is pretty much a homemaker, as they call them now, housewife. You know, she's a homemaker. The man has about four houses. Nigerian case, both residents in Nigeria. The man has about four houses. And fast forward to the judgment time, the courts gave one of the houses to the woman. And the matter is on appeal currently because the man said, this woman did not contribute. I have shown how I made my money, how I paid for the house. What she did was nothing. And then the woman's case had been, oh, she took a loan of about 7 million to buy curtains and sofa and some of the in the house. And a very unusual case in Nigeria. It's one of those extreme exceptions because in Nigeria, that a woman that does not contribute, because it's basically contributory, that does not contribute to the acquisition of any particular asset, goes home with that asset in a divorce. But the truth about it is that there are now plethora of cases where the court now begins to consider other things, the time of support that the woman gave, because those things are valuable. And that's what exactly is considered in diaspora. They will look at a lot of things. They will look at what was the effort that the woman was making when the man was making that money. Not strict contribution like Nigeria will look at it. They will look at the invisible labor of the woman. A woman sits at home, is taking care of three kids while you are in the UK, and you go all out and you are making £5,000 monthly. And then you want to divorce after 10 years, you say the woman did not contribute anything. Would you have gone to work with your three kids while you were working? Would you have been nursing the babies while you were working? Were you going to have been taking those kids to the school? All those contributions that the woman makes is the singular reason why the law in those more developed climes says we can't throw this woman away. We can't leave the women without nothing. In Nigeria, the burden of proof is high. You have to explain, you have to deserve a bite in the property at divorce. But in Western world, no, it's not enough. You don't need to show how you participated in acquisition of those things. Unfortunately, women in diaspora have become very, very greedy. And I know some women will come and throw me here and come and attack me. But the truth about it is that many of them are very greedy. And many of them are creating patterns that will even make their children hate them much later. Because a woman now supports a man simply because she knows the man has some stuff and she doesn't even need to struggle to do anything. She just waits till she's tired. I've had a woman in a divorce say, oh, well, at least I've married you, you have brought me to abroad, I've given you kids, we can go our separate ways now. Because she just knows that she just needed to wait some years, let the man acquire some money, and then they will share property. And some women will not even go far higher and be pursuing the man's 401k in the US. That is the contributions. And unfortunately, the law says that the money that was saved in your 401k in the in of the marriage is also monies that were earned during that marriage, and they could also give the woman some part of it, aside from the child support, which will be required. In Nigeria, it's funny that we did where a man had bought a brand new car for his wife in the course of the marriage. The proceedings was on, and he was asking even for the car back. You know, just as lawyers were told the man. And I said, Mr. Klein, your children are going to be with this woman because by virtue of agreement and understanding, custody was to be with the woman. He said, yes. I said, but the woman doesn't have any other car. He said, yes. But the woman is flirtatious. She has a boyfriend. She'll be using this car to carry a boyfriend. I said, she will use your car to carry her boyfriend. But it's the same car she's going to use to take your children to school. So it is insensitive of you to want to take the car. That is how mean some Nigerian men can be in their divorce in Nigeria. He didn't even consider the interest of the child, which is always paramount in a divorce proceeding. That wouldn't have happened in diaspora. It won't happen in the UK, in America. It won't even be a conversation that you don't want to take the car. The house that they live in, most of the time, the court will preserve that the house will go to the woman in diaspora. And that is why those men don't understand. We are used to chasing women out of the house in Nigeria. When they are not happy with the woman, you chase her out of the house. Pack your load, you be thrown out of the house. That's what we are used to. They now get to a place where it's you that will pack out of the house. Because again, they're trying to keep the interest of the child or the children. They're making it paramount. They don't want them to change. This is where they have grown as a family, husband and wife and children. If there's a divorce, let just one parent leave. Let the children's life be stable. Their schools don't have to change. Their places of worship, their place of leisure, their rooms, everything is preserved so that the impact on the children is minimized. In Nigeria, we don't care. And that's why you find out that the impact of broken homes on children in Nigeria is higher because typically it's a chauvinistic. Now, this matter, this one will bust your brain. A lie. A man, in our words in Nigeria, he chased his wife out of the house. Very wealthy man. Later got married again. But you know what? All the children of the first wife that was divorced were not privileged to go to higher education, to university, to have tertiary education. None of them. They stopped at secondary school. The children of the other wife were fully educated, of course, because they were the ones with him in a marriage. Fast forward to when the man passed. Both children, both sets of children, both wives came. They were far apart. This scenario I just portrayed, I just painted, this real life story I just told you, is very common in Nigeria. And it's a sad thing. And I know that that is what men think about when they say divorce favors women abroad. But if you think much more deeply and you ask yourself, if you were the child of the wife of the first, were the child of the first wife, how would you have felt? Because you did not choose your parents getting married to themselves. Neither were you a part of what made them to get divorced. Now you have to suffer that impact because you also don't have a law that protects you. And so we can consider it that way and say, no, it doesn't favor women. Maybe what you should say rather is that it favors the children. And then who actually owns the children? The man and the woman. They are the parents. So it favors them both. But there's another one that is very worrisome. Is this issue of violence, the boost. Even though domestic violence is seriously against in Nigeria, the truth about it is that the sensitivity of it is not the same here as it is in most of these countries. The weights attached to completely different. And that is one of the things that the women now use to put a leash on their men. I've seen a man, a client of ours, real life story, whose wife was in Nigeria and then he relocated her to London. And whilst they were there, many things kept happening back to back. The woman became violent. What you find in Nigeria is a situation whereby any small thing, a man will slap the woman, a woman will beat the woman. This one was the woman that was slapping the man at every little instance. Push, kick him in a very sensitive place, abuse him, insult him. And then the man was extremely careful and is saying, I'm being provoked because he reacts. Then the woman will call the police. Will make her. You see, the law did not say that the woman should do that to him. Neither did it not say that the man should do that to her. It's still the same problem that Nigerian men or African men have, where they feel it's embarrassing. How do I go and report that my wife is beating me? Why do I go and report that my wife is eating me? And so they now take it in, they soak it in until the day that they are provoked. And that's why you find the case of the man that stabbed his wife the other day. You find the other one that shot the wife. Finding these stories because the men are bottling things they don't need to bottle. In that crime, if something like that happens to you, please, as a man, you to go and incident it. The law works there. Unfortunately, self-help does not work. So you can't help yourself. Your power as a man cannot save you. So if you have a woman who is violent and is abusing you as a man, where you are in that kind of a place, it's not to go to Nigeria in police station and you can say my wife beats me. I don't know about that. But you see, it's different if you are in the UK and document it. Let them question her. Then you worry, oh, she may have to jail. It is you that will end up in that jail. You worry about it. We have to whatever will happen to your marriage. Eventually, whatever will happen will happen. So these are the things men need to learn to do. When it happens the first time, you give a stern warning. When it happens again, you go and incident it. You make sure you put a report in, because the summation will help you on the day where things will happen. The story I told you earlier, where I said that someone called 911 on me. Imagine if I leave and the woman now created a situation of maybe just attacking me, tearing her clothes and saying, "Oh, this man attacked me." How would I have been able to explain it? Because some women, in some cases that we have also done, have been very, very, very manipulative and very creative about the abuse to rope the men in. So it is important that the man also now learns to use the system. The system is a 50-50 system. Every benefit the woman has, you now have. What is happening is that all the benefits the men had in Nigeria was higher than here that they had. But now it's not a reverse. It's an equilibrium. It's not that the women now have more rights because the men used to have more rights. No, there's a balance that everybody now has sufficient rights to protect themselves within that space. So such a man needs to be prepared. There's a celebrated case all over the internet that we're also privileged to have been the ones who anchored that case, where a husband had sponsored his wife to go and school in the UK, and then the wife, when the man was to go and join the wife with the children, she took the children from him and abandoned him at the airport, and wrote to the Homeland Office to say that she did not invite him, and so she was uninviting him for him to be sent back to Nigeria after taking his kids. You would have thought that typically such a man should just be crying and then he will come back to Nigeria, but that would have been the end of his life. But you know, right from there, when the man called, we had to advise, man, be strong. Life is happening to you. You've heard of these things happening, but this time around, you need to be strong for yourself. If you make your mistake of living now, you probably will never even see your children again. But you see, the laws of that land will protect you and protect her and protect the children. So all you need to now do is to go now and let's go to the family court and let them know that you came with children and your children are with someone with this particular data, and then you have to live with your children or be granted a way to stay in the country. Either of the both. Now she would want you to live with the children, and then but you can't go without the children. And that changed the dynamics of the case, because whilst the man was there, little did he know that 1 month before he even left Nigeria, while they were busy selling their house, the man's house, the cars, everything, the woman had filed a divorce petition in Nigeria. Such that by the time he was arriving in the UK, he was being served the divorce petition, he was being uninvited by Homeland, and was supposed to be sent back to Nigeria, home and dry, without child, without children, and without come back to Nigeria. And then what did the woman claim? Issues that had happened in Nigeria before she relocated, issues of abuse and all of those things. So she was hitting back. She had waited all those years for that time to hit back. But for some reasons, God was in favor of the man, and of course, the man had understanding of the law, because we have to tell him, calm down. We will handle the divorce petition in Nigeria. Then we'll deal with the issue of custodial and family court in the family court. And the story is not as you would have expected it to have been from the beginning, because the woman thought that the family court was just going to support her, give her the children, send the man back, and then all of. But that's not what the court did. Not what they did. They had the matter. They had the man. They kept the man in the UK to handle his matter, to handle the case. Do you understand? They waited for the divorce petition in Nigeria to be completed. The law is saner in places. So don't let any woman make you feel that, no, I will just mess you up. I'll take your... No. And then now, for men that are not getting married abroad, since that you now have a lot of people relocating, please, if you can, be as smart as possible. It's okay to do a prenup. Okay? Have your prenuptial agreement. If you go hurry, if the woman has her money, she goes with it. If I have my money, this is agreement will come to place. You are not living in your marriage in fear, because those climes are not like Nigeria. So you must adjust. Stop using your Nigerian sense and Nigerian style, the way your father and your mother's marriage was, to be handling your own marriage. They are different marriage. It's not the same. And where you are staying, you need to play that by that book. Same with women. Because this looks like I've been talking about men that's... So you need to have that in mind. When you are in Rome, you behave like a Roman. When you are in America, you behave like an American. Don't carry your Nigerian mentality to America, then start crying that somebody has done you strong thing. I've seen a lady as well, Nigerian lady, who went who relocated to the very, very successful. The husband became lazy. The man become house husband. He was just junketeering around, enjoying free house, free food. It came to a time it was the lady that couldn't have anything and she couldn't have it anymore. But guess what? Even the man is entitled to take from the ladies for 401k. A man is entitled to support, especially if he's going to take care of the children. And in this particular instance, real life case, the court awarded 100 and something thousand, nearly $200,000 of the woman's contribution in the 401k to the man upon the divorce. Even though the house was given to her, the matrimonial home, but out of her contributory pension scheme, a large chunk of it was divided and given to the man. And so that's the way it works. It's your favor. So I've seen a case where women take from the men take. All depends on you. If you think you are someone in the marriage that has something to lose, do your prenuptial. Protect yourself. If you are a man, don't form macho. Don't form. If somebody is threatening you or provoking you, go and report. There was a real life case of another client of ours. This was all over the social media as well too, where a man who was already extremely successful in the United Kingdom had issues with his wife, and the woman set him up, called the mom to come and visit. While the mom was there, she called the police on a very funny morning. And when the police came, she said the man was asking her to circumcise the daughter. And nobody wants to hear about that. Of course, they needed a witness to corroborate it. And the mom said, yes, she was there. She overheard that conversation, and that was what caused the quarrel. He left in his underpants as the police came. That's how they just walked him out. He never came back to the house. But even when they were not able to substantiate that case and the matter eventually failed in court, the man had been damaged because immediately the news got to his place of work, they said he should first step aside. They asked him to first step aside before they continued any investigation. And so these are bits and pieces of people's experiences. You need to be alert. Let's, in the name of love, be stupid. You don't have to also be overtly cautious, but be smart about what you're doing. Whether you are a man or a woman, understand that the Lord doesn't favor any one of you more than the other. The Lord favors the person that has brain, the person that has sense, the person that is listening to Charles Ajiboye and understands that when there are conversations, if you can record things, especially when things are getting heated, you want to have cameras in your house, you want to have backup things that can show, that can be as evidence. Somebody will say, it's marriage now, it's marriage now. He's telling you, the man that lost his entire livelihood in the UK, is it not marriage? The one that was abandoned at Heathrow Airport, is it not marriage? The one whose husband took half of her 1K, her entire life saving that she was saving for her retirement, is it not marriage? See, it is marriage. But let us now marry with sense. If you know you want to do this kind of love that we want to do, that we do in Nigeria, marry and stay here. Marry and stay here. But if you decide that you want to go abroad, then let both parties be clear about the fact that marriages abroad are based on clear eye for most of them. Based on clear eye. If you know what clear eye means, a clear eye, I love you too. What about? Then you document it. Not I love you, then you will lose money, life may change forever. And that's why you now find so many people in the diaspora. People wonder why a lot of people in the diaspora are always struggling to invest in Nigeria. Sometimes they are trying to hide their money. It's not because they like their fatherland. They are trying to hide their money so that even when they are enforcing those things, it will be difficult for the woman to come back here after she has taken the man's property or the man has taken to come back here and come and claim the things that are here. So they'll be sending money to one father, buy one house here, codedly they are putting things here so that even if anything goes south there, they can come back and sell and go and recalibrate themselves back. So they are bringing their money. And of course, even if the woman finds out their property in Nigeria, they can attach it over there. But this place is more difficult for them to find out. The system there is clear. If you have house, if you have car, everything will show on the records. The data can spin it out. But in Nigeria, they are able to have a house, and when they come and search here, you won't know whether the person has a house or he doesn't have a house or he has houses. You cannot really tell exactly what he has because some of our data, most of our data, are very accurate. I'm going to stop. I'm going to be happy to take your questions. If you have any question, you can drop in the comment section. You can chat me up or send it to my DM. I'm going to be happy to respond to you to the best of my ability. I'm going to try to respond to you. And if I find out that some particular question is predominant, I may just do another shot to just respond to it as a whole. Because this is a very exhaustive topic and I don't want to keep you on this video for another 1 hour or 2 hours. It's still supposed to be short, but at least I hope I've been able to give you an idea of how these things work and to let you know that no, it's just a perception. It's not the reality. It's a myth. This thing favors women more than men. Is 50-50. You find that they worry more about the Ontario formula. Equalization formula will look at if they want to divide anything upon divorce, what is the net family property, and then they will take away all the assets that the marriage has, both the husband and then they take it away from all the debts they have as at the date of separation. What is the left? That is the net family property. Then they look at that and subtract the marriage date credits. And then they look at all that minus debt of the marriage as at the date of the separation. And then they now go and subtract excluded property, things that cannot be specific, that are not involved. And then they go on to determine equalization payment. Sometimes the matrimonial home is always, they try to preserve that based on who is going to have custody. And custody too is also not automatic. In case I didn't mention about custody, people just imagine, the woman will take the children from me. The court will always give the woman. The court usually will give the woman if the woman typically had been the one that had been taking care of the children in marriage. But I've seen cases where men have been the one taking care of the children. Like I told you about the man that was abandoned and through. The woman had been in school for 2 years, and the man had been the one with the children for 2 years. All the time while she was abroad, I've seen cases where the man is typically the one that takes care of the children. The case I told you about of the man at Heathrow Airport, the children have been with him for 2 years while his wife was in school. And so, in that kind of instance, the court could actually grant custody to the man. Despite the fact that the children are young, but if he has taken care of them for 2 years, it means he knows exactly how to take care of his children. So, there's nothing that says that the woman must have custody. I want to believe that this has helped you. I want to believe it has helped you. But I'll be very, very happy to see, to read your comments, to have your questions, to know how much more deeper you would like me to go in my next video. Thank you very, very much for watching. I hope that you would share to someone who needs to listen to this. Until the next time, bye.